In our first half hour, we took a closer look at Illinois politics, and now we're on the other side of the river to see what lawmakers have been up to in Iowa. It's that time of the legislative session where bills are being debated, passed, and signed. So we're going to go a little rapid fire today with all the bills that have passed at least one chamber already. Joining us now is Dana Searles of our sister station WOI in Des Moines. So Dana, let's start with the classroom. A bill that's gotten bipartisan support is the cell phone ban, but the House passed it with a little bit of a change from what Governor Reynolds proposed. What's going on here?
Yeah, so this has been talked about all legislative session. It's one of Governor Reynolds' top priorities. Now, the change, originally, the bill would have required schools to implement curriculum in health classes for 6th through 7th, 8th through 8th graders that would require them to teach about the effects of social media in health classes. That is no longer in the bill, but what's still in the bill is that electronic devices would be banned during instructional time, so during class time at a minimum, but schools would be allowed to impose stricter bans if they choose to do so.
Well, something that's a little less bipartisan are new food requirements for Iowa schools. This bill passed the House. What does it say?
So what it does is it would direct Iowa's Department of Education to apply for a waiver from federal school lunch programs, which basically set guidelines for what school lunches have to be in the state. Now, what this waiver, the goal of it is to implement new products and kind of emphasize other types of food in school lunches here in Iowa. Now, the three foods that were noted that they want to emphasize more of is on meat, dairy, and corn.
The House has also passed a bill all about student athletes. What's going on here?
So this stems from what lawmakers say is private schools and public schools ending agreements that would allow athletes to participate in public school activities. So what this bill would do would allow for private school students to participate in public school sports if they are within the school district's boundaries. So that's the one requirement that it would take, but they would be charged the same fees that public school students would as long as they're within those districts' boundaries.
Okay, final education bill today. It also passed the House. This one's all about universities and DEI classes. So if it becomes law, what would no longer be required?
Yeah, so this is something that saw intense debate and is quite controversial. What it would do is it would remove requirements, graduate requirements for students to take classes relating to diversity, equity, and inclusion or critical race theory. So basically, Iowa's public universities would not be allowed to require that in order for students to graduate. However, there is an exception if your major is along the lines of racial, ethnic, or gender studies, then you could still have that as a requirement. However, for all general education requirements for students in order to graduate, they would not be required to take one of those courses.
All right, let's do one more in the House. This one is bipartisan. What is the House immigrant smuggling bill?
So basically what it is it would create it would make it a crime if somebody knowingly helps transport somebody, move somebody around who is violating federal immigration policies. So it would just make it a crime if somebody is driving people somewhere or helping them move somewhere, etc. Basically just kind of makes it that crime for violating federal immigration policies.
All right, let's hop over to the Senate quickly. What was passed in connection to minors and children testifying in court?
So this is something that was strongly advocated for by Attorney General Brenna Bird, and it's actually an amendment to Iowa's Constitution. So what it would do is it would prevent accused abusers from facing a minor or a child in court. So if it were to be a situation where a minor would have to testify in court against their accused abuser, they would be put in a two-way closed circuit system. So it would allow for the minor to be in a separate room and the accused abuser to be in the courtroom, and it would be, you could hear and see everything, you just wouldn't have to be face to face. So this is something that has seen a lot of support, but originally is kind of stemming from Attorney General Brenna Bird's idea, and it is important to note, it would be an amendment to Iowa's Constitution.
All right, last one for you, Dana. Another cell phone ban. It's already illegal to text and drive in Iowa, so what would this new hands-free bill do?
So it kind of does exactly what you say as a hands-free bill. So to require people to use Siri or Google Voice. If you are driving in the car, you couldn't touch your cell phone, you would have to use that. while you are driving. And basically, it's a bill that is actually, or it's a law in neighboring states like Minnesota. So it's something that's not uncommon. But basically, it would just kind of go the step further than texting while driving. It would be even with phone calls, etc. You'd have to use Siri or Google Voice. And first-time violations would result in a $100 fine. So something that we've seen in other states, kind of trying to just move that to Iowa to end distracted driving.
It's been a busy week, Dana. Another busy one ahead of us in Iowa politics. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. And for you guys at home, we've compiled our political coverage for both sides of the river on WQAD.com. Just click on the As Seen on TV tab at the top of the homepage.